Hey everybody, I am here. We're gonna change Sparrow. She's down here in her Moses basket. There's the tripod. But first, somebody had asked what kind of books I collect, so I thought we'll go through. I just put some of my favorites. We have a whole bookshelf in the living room, but I think that from this shelf, you can kind of gather who my favorite is. Most people's first reaction, what do we have back here? The Shining and The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon back there in the corner. Most people, when they hear Stephen King, they say, oh, I don't like horror, or especially if they're not familiar with him. But those who are familiar with Stephen King know or have experienced that his writing is phenomenal. He has an unbelievable gift for character development and for telling such rich stories that even if you're, 300 pages without hearing about a character, you remember who they are. It's just really the one person that I would want to sit on an airplane for an 8-hour plane ride, or that I would want to have a chance to meet that is still living. So that is that shelf. And this here was made by somebody who used to be in my life for me. And it's a mini book. So this is a book or a short story, everything you need to know about writing successfully in 10 minutes. But then in the back here, see if I can manage this. These are miniature little books that I'll take one out for you. The light's behind me, so we're going to have shadows. The whole book is actually in there. Isn't that cool? And he made this shelf and everything, bound it in leather by hand. So that was a really cool gift. So I keep that. Down here, we have some overflow of Stephen King. Ted Bundy stuffed in here. So I do enjoy certain types of true crime. Poisoner's Handbook I haven't read. I got that for my birthday. I'll Be Gone in the Dark. That is another true fiction. She reignited the search for the Golden State Killer, who was ultimately caught. Can't wait to read this, The History of Gangster Rap. And my favorites are on the cover. Let's pull this one out. Something's hidden under here. Sons of Anarchy. I haven't read that. Joe Hill. This is Stephen King's son. We have some C.S. Lewis, some Roald Dahl, the BFG, one of the most memorable stories that our librarian read to us. The Book of Merlin, a very classic book. 2 of the 3 books of the Divine Trilogy by Philip K. Dick, who is a science fiction writer. I believe, let's see if I can remember. What did he write? Was it Total Recall? I think he wrote the story that Total Recall was built on, but phenomenal trilogy. Then over here we have, there's a Richard Bach Illusions, phenomenal book. He is another favorite author of mine, totally different genre. We have some Anne Rice. Somehow all of my, the beginning of the Vampire Trilogy is missing. I must have gifted them to people. But this is her werewolf series, the first book in it, Vampire Armand. Here's another Richard Bach. He wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull, The Bridge Across Forever, and One. Here is Stranger in a Strange Land, another iconic sci-fi. Some more Anne Rice and Richard Bach. Then we have an anthology of American literature, a lot of different authors on there. And then major American short stories. I do love English literature. I'm sure I would love other literature if I could read other languages. Up here we've got Mark Twain, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Whoever Fights Monsters, and Mindhunter. So Robert Ressler and John Douglas, two pioneers in the creation of the Behavioral Sciences Unit, criminal profiling within the FBI. And if you've watched the new series Mindhunter on, and yes, there are stickers here. This was a child's bed. On Netflix, Mindhunter is based on them. So Holden is based on John Douglas, and then I forget the other character. The older character is based on Robert Ressler. This is a sociology story. This rocked my world, the disparity of the different neighborhoods in the U.S. and how stark they are and how underprivileged certain neighborhoods are. The Forensic Science of CSI, The CSI Effect, both by Catherine Ramsland. I did go to college. I had started a degree in forensic psychology, which I didn't finish, my one life regret. Hidden Evidence, it's more forensic stuff. And then Encyclopedia of Serial Killers. No, I'm not a fan of serial killers, but just in a nutshell, I originally saw Deliberate Stranger, which was based on Ted Bundy, very B made-for-TV movie back in, must have been the late 80s. And I saw it, and it was on TV in two-part special, I think, split between 2 nights, the way they used to do it. And I was so affected and not traumatized, but so concerned that I was going to become a victim when I got to college age, until my mom told me that he had already been executed. And I think what happened was I was so frightened by it that I had to look at it. The same thing happened to me with sharks, great white sharks, right around the same age. Maybe I saw Jaws or something like that. I ended up getting a book on shark attacks and reading that. Obviously, it terrified me, but I have to look at something when it does that. And I don't know why. I'm not the only person in the world like that, but I am one of those people. Found this old leather-bound Les Miserables, Volume 1 by Victor Hugo. Pudd'nhead Wilson by Mark Twain. Reynaldo Arenas, Before Night Falls. Oh my gosh. So I first saw the movie and had to get the book. This is a picture from the movie. And incredible. He was a Cuban poet and artist. About his story of being a homosexual artist in Cuba, in communist Cuba, and his story. This is some of his poetry. John Steinbeck. This is going to be Grapes of Wrath. Another really impactful story of my life from high school reading. Dandelion Wine by Ray Bradbury. Also Animal Farm by George Orwell. All of these made an impact. Kiss Kiss by Roald Dahl. The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. I haven't read every book here. A Streetcar Named Desire, Tennessee Williams, and A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce. More literature. This is Voyager tarot cards. Really cool deck. I'm not going to get into that now because that would be a whole hour. All Quiet on the Western Front also rocked my world. Journey of Awakening by Ram Dass. I've read portions of this. Ram Dass wrote another book, which I think is out on our living room shelf. Cool journey. American guy, ended up becoming like a guru. Anyway, a great spiritual teacher. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert Pirsig. This is modern philosophy, an inquiry into values. I've read this multiple times. One of my favorite writings of all times. Okay, White Hot Truth, Danielle Laporte. She is a current, teacher, kind of like female. Clarity for Keeping It Real on Your Spiritual Path. She is just was a super rad chick I met at I saw speak at the Longevity Conference last year and got her book. I borrowed this book from somebody, The Keys of Yeshua. So I need to get to reading that. Codependent No More, changed my life. Classic, over 20 years old. Joseph Campbell, one of the great teachers in my opinion, scholar, gathering information on different cultures and mythologies and finding the common vein and sort of like finding our meaning of life from there. He did Bill Moyers did, I think it was a 6 or an 8-part series of interviews at the Walker Ranch, or the Lucas, I guess he called it the Walker Ranch. Anyways, George Lucas, who did Star Wars, they did an interview there where they went through all of these different themes. This is like kind of a synopsis of those interviews, and this is a book written by Joseph Campbell, The Hero with 1,000 Faces. He did a lot of studying on the hero mythology. Evolve Your Brain, The Science of Changing Your Mind. This guy, incredible, healed a potentially paralyzing spinal injury in like a couple of months through, anyway. That's phenomenal. If you're curious about that, let me know. Brook Medicine Eagle, The Last Ghost Dance. That is, I don't even know how to explain it. Phenomenal. And then René Guénon, he's an old French, would you call him a philosopher or... But anyway, The Reign of Quantity and the Signs of the Times. So that talks about the difference between quantity and quality and the progression of society and the movement away from quality into quantity. And, all the title said all of that. But anyway, those are my faves. And then I have 2 Bibles up here. I actually have 2 more. But these are my 2 that I've spent a lot of time of my life with, as you could see, from my journey. And then Hear No Evil. You're going to be out of order. That'll drive me nuts, but my zombies. Here's the stat. All right, let us see if we can get you on the tripod, and we'll change Sparrow. There we go. This is what I'm going to put her into. Let's just get her out of here. She's so cute. You're so cute in this outfit. I don't want to change you, but I kind of have to change you if I want to play with you. Let's see how the angle is. Yeah, that's a good position for her. You want to turn so everybody can see. Sweetie, okay. I'm just going to have a sip of coffee real quick. Oh, it's Friday. I usually start saying that. It's Friday. Tomorrow is my guy's birthday. So, gotta get some things organized, some cards and stuff organized for him tonight. So that's all ready for tomorrow. I'm gonna go do my breakfast with his mom and go do some fun activities. And there's also a really good, if anybody happens to watch UFC fighting, there's a pretty epic fight on tomorrow, right in the middle of the day. So I'm not sure where. She's got a long hair stuck to her arm. I'm not sure where it is because it starts at about 1 o'clock Central Time. Usually the fights are on at like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. But it is a return of a fighter who hasn't fought in a while, so it's going to be pretty epic. All right, girly. That's the one thing with this onesie. It's a little tight up here at the top. It doesn't have a whole lot of give. It's getting little fuzzies on her, little black fuzzies. here. There we go. All right, let's take your bow. So guys, I'm going to put her in this, it's Peak Little Peanut. It's this real flowy blouse with the elephants on it. Kind of an Indian vibe. Looks like it's going to be really cozy on her. I think I'm done with this bracelet on her right now too. What else? I've been talking about books for so long, I'm all talked out. One thing that I've been thinking about, because I have on Instagram, sometimes you'll meet collectors and communicate with collectors that just aren't on YouTube or are quiet on YouTube, or maybe they don't have a channel. But I've seen a couple of people posting that they're kind of stressed out by you know, some of the things that go on here. There's you know, arguments and groups that, you know, just really don't like each other. And a couple of people said that they were, you know, they were torn because they actually watched videos from people on quote unquote both sides of arguments. And I thought about that, you know, so I think about the statement, oh my goodness, this is so cute. I think about the statement, you know, you say the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't know if I agree with that or not. I mean, I definitely see it. I definitely have, you know, been in situations where that held true for me in my younger times. And I don't even know if I want to put socks on her. What's this? I don't think so. She's just so baby. But the other side of it is, like, is the friend of my enemy my enemy? Or is the enemy of my friend my enemy? And it kind of feels sometimes like you feel that that's the default. And I can see that can be challenging. And I've experienced that can be challenging, where you might actually like somebody who really does not like people that you also like. And it can be like conflict, that if you know, concern, and some people are upset if you don't, you know, drop somebody who's their enemy, I guess. And so I know some people are struggling with that feeling of, you know, is it, and I just don't think that you can take one aspect or one issue that's playing out with somebody in the way that they're handling it and like chalk the whole of their person or their persona up to that, if that makes sense. For starters, when you're in a community that's themed, like a doll collecting community, the topics are all centering around one like portion of somebody's life. So all of the things that rub you the wrong way kind of all are classified in there. But it's not all of who they are, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not just a doll collector, and I don't only interact in life the way that I interact in the hobby, right? But also, what was I going to say? Also, at least I've experienced that if I, you know, have an opinion about somebody, I can kind of like start to see that opinion played out in everything that they say and do. And somebody else might not even pick up on that, or might not interpret it the same way, because, you know, we have a filter or a presupposition, I guess, about it. So you could feel really strongly, somebody, you know, you could feel really, really strongly about somebody that you're seeing a certain thing or way about them, and other people may not see it, or maybe it might be true in some areas, but not the entirety of who they are, or you see what you expect, kind of thing. But I don't really have a point, I guess. I operate in the gray a lot, you know. Like, I try to understand where things are coming from, or where people are coming from. And I feel badly to see people feel conflicted about their relationships because of other relationships, if that makes sense. I don't know. That's the end of our changing. This outfit's so cute. I try and turn her to show you in the camera, and I always end up cutting off her head. So hopefully you can see her. Let's see. Yeah. This is such a cute outfit. All right, guys. I'm not going to ramble any longer. Thank you for coming by. I'll go back and look. I don't remember offhand, but there's the answer to your question on what kind of books I collect. Those are some of my favorites. I am a book lover, and when I go on vacation, if there's a used bookstore, I could literally spend, you know, an entire day in there, and I have to cut my time short just to be considerate for the rest of the family who's done after a little bit. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. Don't mind my charger. Hope everybody has a great weekend. And we will be back before too long, I am sure. Thanks for coming by. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm sending out much love. Bye for now.